In the news this week, cost of living hits the nerve of Western Australians as it tops annual service priority for the first time. Peter Candy's exclusive analysis.
WA's top doctor welcomes the push for new children's unit at Osborne Park Hospital as service demand increases. The gutless attack of an elderly woman in her 70s during a home invasion as police provide more updates. And later, Dr. Andrew Miller's comment.
This is The Evening News with Ivan Loom and Maliva Thorne.
Good evening. Western Australians have placed cost of living and household fees and charges as the number one issue for the Cook government to address in the upcoming state budget. With the Labor government set to receive another record surplus, bread and butter issues have overtaken health and housing as top concerns. Viewers will also be eager to see the return of electricity credits. Here's Peter Candy's exclusive breakdown of the results.
The WAMN's annual budget survey is very revealing as to what the issues are, and the government would be very unwise if it disregarded them. So, Rita Safiotti, there's a message there for the Treasurer in the budget on May 9, the last budget before the state election due in March next year. This is how they ranked. Number 1, cost of living. The hip pocket nerve is alive and well. Number 2, health. That'll involve waiting lists and also emergency departments. Rentals, well, affordable housing. It's the big issue for a huge section of the population, particularly young people. Law and order, especially in regional centres around the state. Aged care, well, a big section of the population with an ageing population are worried about how aged care services will be provided and their cost. Education and training, that's the other end of the spectrum. Younger West Australians, are they getting the education that they need in the modern economy? Training at TAFE, key. Trade training. I mean, it's not just university training. This is skills, trade skills, which have been neglected for so long. Paying down debt. Well, I mean, people who had big debts over housing, for instance, but not only housing, with the escalating prices, it's also younger people. Student debt, where they are concerned about job security and the capacity to get on top, to keep afloat. So we go on. Regional development. This is a big issue for the government. It's not just people in Perth, the metropolitan area, regional development. What's the state government doing to promote growth in the regions, to provide jobs for those youngsters who are coming out of high school to stay in their communities? That's what people in regional WA want to see. Family and domestic violence. It's a daily issue. Just the government needs to be doing more to get on top of this particular issue. And so we go on. Small and medium assistance, small and medium-sized businesses. What sort of assistance can the government provide there through the Small Business Development Corporation? Reduced payroll tax, perhaps lower costs, cut red tape. The government's talked about cutting red tape for years, but each time Parliament sits, more red tape is created. The government's got to get on top of that. Veterans Affairs, former servicemen and women, looking for issues to make life easier for them, especially those that have been traumatised by the experience in the services. Climate change, perhaps a little lower than some might have expected, but it's still an issue of concern, particularly when it doesn't rain. So this is an issue for all West Australians, the climate change. And, I mean, look, if we hadn't had desalination plants, if Jeff Gallop and Alan Carpenter hadn't pressed ahead with desalination plants, where would we have been with the current drought, particularly in the southwest? Community issues, always there, and the government needs to be looking after community services throughout the state, metropolitan area, community issues, and also youth and First Nations issues. The survey showed strong support for the upgrading of the Osborne Park Hospital, particularly with regard to children's services and general services for that part of the metropolitan area. So the government would be unwise to disregard that. And also the electricity credits, which were far more popular and appear to have been far more effective than, for instance, the handout to parents of primary and secondary school students at a strange time. So key issues for the government. Osborne Park Hospital, it showed that if they're looking for specific ways of improving the health service, the hospital service, Osborne Park Hospital needs attention. And with regard to cost of living, electricity credits, very popular with householders. Peter Kennedy, WA-MN News.
The final poll results show that more than 80% of viewers support a new children's unit in the Osborne Park hospital expansion, and WA's top doctor also welcomes the push for a new children's ward in the hospital as demands for paediatric services continue to increase. Paige Reid has more on this matter.
Final results in the latest WAMN News poll show more than 82% of viewers are supportive of the Cook government's expanding on the Osborne Park Hospital, opening a new children's unit. In the fourth annual poll about the upcoming annual state budget, viewers continue to prioritise healthcare over education and want more services available. Australian Medical Association President Dr. Michael Page says he is not surprised by the outcome of the poll and says the demand for improved paediatric healthcare has increased in recent years.
Look, what we're desperate for in WA is more paediatric services and probably better linkages between paediatric services and general practitioners, and we need to also look at what general practitioners can do that they're not currently able to do to really help with the backlog of demand for paediatric services.
Dr. Page says there is a major shortage of general practitioners around the state and parents waiting years for their child to receive care is no longer acceptable. He says location of any new paediatric ward isn't the major concern, but rather making services available to parents is the main priority.
Clearly at the moment we've got a crisis of paediatric services in Perth, particularly around developmental paediatrics, diagnosis of conditions like autism and autism spectrum disorders, ADHD. There's a real shortage of qualified practitioners able to diagnose those conditions, and so many parents are calling out for better access to paediatric care in Perth.
Dr. Page says Osborne Park is a good location for the new paediatric ward and will give WA parents better access to healthcare in Perth's north.
Building a new unit is in itself not going to solve this problem. We need more doctors.
Paige Reid, WAMN News.
And here are other top stories making news in Perth and WA this weekend.
The new Bayswater train station was officially opened today by Premier Roger Cook, Deputy Premier Rita Saviotti and local member Lisa Barker. The new state-of-the-art rail station features new platforms, easy access elevators and modern design, with the middle track set to link up with the future Ellenbrook rail line. To mark this special occasion, a community party was held around the grounds of the train station, with future assurances that no truck will ever hit the bridge again. Additionally, today, WA teachers are preparing to strike this coming Tuesday if their demand for better pay is not met. The government is offering a 5% increase this year, followed by 2 years of 3% increases, while the union wants 7% instead. Premier Cook says the strike is unnecessary, while the union says the strike will be called off if the conditions are met before Tuesday.
Hi there. Are you looking for a new home or want to refinance your car mortgage to get a better rate? At AA Finance Solutions, we have the expertise and knowledge to help you to find the right loan for your needs and budgets. Contact us today. Let us help you to make your home ownership dream a reality.
AA Finance Solutions, your local mortgage broker.
A 73-year-old woman sustained severe facial bruising and swelling during an aggravated home burglary in Girraween, prompting investigations by Joondalup detectives. The aggravated home burglary transpired at a residence on Allison Drive in Girraween at around 7 p.m. 3 men claiming to be police officers arrived at the home and requested entry from occupant. Once inside, 3 perpetrators proceeded to restrain the 76-year-old man and subjected his 73-year-old female partner to assault. The woman sustained severe facial bruising and swelling as a result of the attack and is presently receiving medical treatment in hospital. Authorities revealed the number of items stolen from the home, including gold necklace, rings, bags, and earrings. The photos were given to the media this weekend as police continued their investigation into the home invasion incident. Any information regarding this matter should contact Crime Stoppers. Anyone with information regarding this matter should contact Crime Stoppers.
The Cook government has allocated $92.2 million in fresh funding for homelessness initiatives in the 2024 to 25 budget, aiming to sustain over 120 critical homelessness services across WA. This funding aims to maintain existing homelessness services and provide essential support to the state's most vulnerable individuals, with $70.2 million to uphold service delivery and meet growing demand, marking an unprecedented increase in baseline funding for specialist homelessness services in WA. This includes additional support for accommodation services, engagement hubs, outreach services and specialist support services. The government also announced reforms on rental.
The Nationals opposition unveils their 2025 state election candidates in Perth's metro area, targeting safe Liberal seats. The move is touted as historic, with Donna Gordon to contest Bateman, Jonathan Shacks to contest South Perth, Morgan Brass to contest Darling Range, and Lisa Logan to contest Kalamunda. Meanwhile, the party's WA State President, Julie Freeman, labels the announcement as a momentous occasion. She expresses confidence in capitalising on voters shifting away from major party.
It is clear today that the Nationals are here for Western Australians no matter where you live, from the red dirt of the Pilbara to the leafy streets of suburbia.
Right across Western Australia, community is at the core of what we do. Whether it be in the Perth metropolitan area or, as Julie says, in the red dirt of the Pilbara, we're there for the local community, we're there for the people of that community.
A man faces 13 charges following a police chase that went for the whole night. Detectives from Mirrabooka charged the Northbridge man, aged 37, over the chase which occurred this week. Police say the accused allegedly stole a Hyundai i40 station wagon from a shopping mall car park in Mirrabooka. 2 days later, the car was spotted in Dinella, where the chase began. The car was driven through 22 suburbs, such as Dinella, West Swan, Kenwick, Murray and Fremantle. Police allege that the car drove directly at police cars, along with other dangerous manoeuvres. The stolen vehicle crashed on Knutsford Street in Fremantle, and the driver was taken into custody. The driver was charged with 13 offences, including drug charges. He appeared at the Perth Magistrates Court on Friday.
And now here's Dr. Andrew Miller with his weekly medical and news commentary.
Hi, thanks for your time. In reflecting on the terrible tragedy that happened in Bondi, where devastation is caused to an entire community and to a nation through the actions of just one person, we need to particularly pay respect to the victims and their families, the bystanders who witnessed terrible events, and also, of course, the first responders. It's a timely reminder what these professionals go through in an emotional sense whilst just doing their job 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year on behalf of the rest of us. They carry a heavy load. It's not just those who arrive on the scene, it's of course also the trauma units, the hospitals, the healthcare systems, the law enforcement professionals that have to tidy up after a terrible incident like this, and many others, some of which don't even make the news at all. We have to be very grateful to them. That's one thing. They should receive awards. That's another thing that's important, that they get recognition. But too often they do not get the resources and the personal benefits that they should get for taking on these jobs. And in that sense, they're very much, in my view, like people who've been in the Defence Forces who take the ultimate risk often for their nation, and yet along with the medals, they don't seem to receive the generous support of the community that I think they deserve. We need to hold our political leaders to account. They're very keen to be associated with heroes and to be seen to be rewarding them, but that reward needs to be more than just recognition and just thanks. It actually needs to be something substantial. So for our police officers, for our paramedics, for our nurses and doctors, and for everyone who works in those systems, they need to get a fair deal in terms of not just their own personal remuneration and benefits and support after events like this, but also in terms of the way the system within which they work is resourced. Governments have to step up and accept that one of their primary responsibilities is having healthcare and law enforcement in place and preventative things in place, such as community mental health services that are sufficiently resourced to look after the tremendous load that is on them in this day and age. So after the dust has settled, after the appropriate awards and decorations have been handed out, let's make sure that these systems are fully and properly supported, particularly in a very wealthy country like the one in which we are incredibly lucky to live. Thanks very much for your time.
That was Dr. Andrew Miller. This coming Thursday, WAMN News will bring you the latest on the Anzac Day dawn service in Kings Park just before 5 a.m, followed by the Veterans Parade at 9 a.m. Don't forget to join us on our social media pages for live reports.
I look forward to bringing it to you then and wake up early for that. And now here's Leo with what's coming up on 6 News tonight.
Thank you very much, guys. The top stories we're following on 6 News right now. Brittany Higgins has broken her silence for the first time since the judge made his finding in the defamation case brought forward by Bruce Lurriman. Hundreds of people are set to gather at Bondi for a candlelit vigil to remember those killed in the Westfield stabbing. And Russia has banned several current and former state MPs from Victoria and South Australia. We follow the fallout from that. These stories and more and the rest of today's headlines are on the hour every hour here on 6 News. You can watch live on our YouTube channel. For now though, guys, it's back to you.
Thanks, Leo. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website, wamnnews.com.au.
Remember to subscribe to the WAMN Extra News Club so we can continue our work in the community. Full details on wamnnews.com.au/news/extra. From Melly and myself, wish you good health, good night. See you next Sunday.
Thanks for watching.